Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking 102.71, Getting to Know Your Flame. In this video, I am working on a surface mix torch. It's not really going to be helpful for those of you who have a pre-mix torch like a hothead. So I'm sorry about that, but I hope you find it interesting either way. And of course, every torch is slightly different because they're all handmade when it comes to a surface mix torch. And I'll share mine and just kind of what I know about my torch flame, and I hope it helps you out. If you have any more questions about this, things that maybe I didn't cover or forgot to cover, please let me know. I want you to be able to do the best work you can and know your flame. So with that said, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. I already made this video, but when I went to go edit it, I couldn't see any of the parts of the flame because I forgot, I have this titanium lens over my camera. Let's try this again. Okay, let's start out with the notes that I took. So this is basically my notes on knowing your flame and knowing about a neutral flame, a reduction flame, and an oxidizing flame. I don't really use the oxidizing flame, but we'll cover it anyway. All right, let's get started. What I have here is a surface mix torch. It is a Carlisle Hellcat, and I love this torch. It has double stages, so I have my first stage here, my second stage is right here, so I can get a bigger flame. And then my marvering pad on top does come off if I need it to, and I can put different things there. It's pretty cool, and this does move around as well. So I love this torch. It's really great, and I've had it forever, and I've never had any problems with it. Okay, so I'm going to start with my gas first, and usually my gas is about the size of my fingers. And then I will slowly add my oxygen. I have my cones right here. And then of course this first inch is like a no-go zone. You never want to put your glass here. You can put boro here, but with soft glass, you really want to work at least an inch out from the cones. This is a great working area for me. And then out here a little bit further is if I have some glass that is kind of tricky to use, I will warm it out here in the flame and just slowly warm it. And then of course way out here is where I just keep my glass nice and warm. So these are the different areas of the flame. Okay, let's go ahead and get to our first neutral flame. And I'm just going to dial in my torch, and hopefully you can see these cones here at the tip. And I'm looking for them to be well defined, and everything around it is just a really nice blue plume of flame. However, if your color is discoloring, like this sky blue here can do very easily, or the gold ruby, this is how I test it. I'm going to go ahead and just get this warm in the flame. And then I just want to ball this up. Let's come out of the flame here for a second. I can already see that it's discoloring. So that is indicating to me that my flame is on a slight reduction. So I need a little bit more oxygen. And my cones are a bit more well defined. So let's try this flame. See if I can get rid of that reduction. It always takes a while for the glass to cool down so you can see it, but I still have a little bit there. Let me give it a little bit more heat. Further in. And let me just ball it up. Let's flatten this out so we can see things a little bit better. This looks like a good flame. I don't have any discoloring here. Nothing when I go in. So I'm happy with this flame. I can work on this. If I see anything wrong, I can adjust it. Sometimes it's a very slight amount. Sometimes you have to boost your oxygen just a little bit, or you have too much propane. All right, let's get into a reduction flame, a true reduction flame, which you see all this yellow coming up through the blue. Even this is a reduction flame, and it will affect the glass, depending on where you are in the flame. Here, or here. All of a sudden, I'm going to get this high reduction on this blue, which I actually think is really beautiful, but what if you don't want it? Okay, let's get back into a neutral flame. Crisp up our cones again. All I was doing was adding a little bit more, a little less propane, pulling back in on my propane. So it's back to an even mix of propane and oxygen. And there it is, it's gone. So knowing your flame is really important, especially when it comes to certain colors like this gold ruby. Now, an oxidizing flame is when you have too much oxygen and your flame can get real noisy, or your torch. So mine is kind of hard to do. So I'm adding a whole bunch of oxygen here, and then let's see if I can't get a real loud kind of, that's like too much oxygen. My torch will immediately just burn the glass here. You can see that ruby is just, I can't believe I'm doing this to this color, but it is burning it. It's getting bubbles, it's boiling. So that's way, way too much oxygen. Let me heat it up again. I'm so sorry, gold ruby. But you can see that it just looks awful. So let me stop wasting oxygen and get back into a neutral flame. And I'm just looking for a nice sound. You will get to know your flame and your torch by the sound of a neutral flame. If I reduce this color, it will, well, let's reduce it so I can show you. So you can, I've never been able to work gold ruby with a reduction and make it look good. But if you have, let me know. I'd love to know, because it is an interesting reduction on this color. That's pretty much it when it comes to knowing your flame. The other thing I wanted to mention is the propane to oxygen mix. Let me turn my torch off real quick and bring in my notes. So here it says, for smaller torches and concentrators, it's good to go 5 psi on propane and 10 on oxygen. It could be less. It could be like 8 to 10. And then for larger torches, 2 stages and more, or generators, I like a 10 to 20 ratio. But you could have like a 7 to 15 if you want. So there's things that you can do to know your flame settings even better than you thought you had. And I'll see you all next time in the dungeon. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know.